Now, from the KSN Storm Center, your local weather authority, this is your forecast first.
About 95% of the storms have dissipated. We can show you that with our Freeman Health First Alert Doppler radar. This is a loop of the past 3 or 4 hours. Not seeing much happening. It's all moved off toward the central parts of Arkansas. So by and large, we're going to see fairly dry conditions tonight, but an isolated storm or two is possible by 8 a.m. Thursday morning. Few scattered storms by noon, and then we're going to get to the partly cloudy skies by 6 o'clock tomorrow. We may see a little break in the action before our next round of showers and thunderstorms arrives, unfortunately, by the weekend. The very latest on that in a few more minutes. KSN Local News at 10 starts right now.
Now in high definition, local, part of your community. This is KSN Local News at 10.
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jessica Shear.
And I'm Philip Mitchell. A Neosho company that has been around for nearly half a century is set to close. Premier Turbines Manufacturing has been around since 1956. The company provided repair and overhaul services for business, general aviation, government, and military turbine engines. The Director of Communications, Chris Pratt, says the plant employs 80 people. Neosho's mayor, Richard Davidson, says the company has been going through a lot of turmoil, so he's not surprised to see it shut down.
It's now a destination for someone to come in and establish building and do other things. So, I think in the long run, it will have a minimal impact. It's unfortunate for the people and lives that are impacted by it, but we move forward and move on down the road.
The plant will close in the first quarter of next year. The company would not comment at this time as to why they decided to close.
Pittsburgh city leaders are already planning on what needs to be done to improve their city over the next 5 years. A 5-year financial forecast was presented at the Pittsburgh City Commissioners meeting earlier this week. Top priorities for the next 5 years include repairing more roads in the city, increasing public safety, and working to get higher paying jobs for Pittsburgh residents. Pittsburgh City Manager Darren Hall says it's important that the city is in a good financial position after the next 5 years.
I think this is a time for Pittsburgh to really set a quality of life standard that we're comfortable with going forward for the next 20 years, and we're going to do that in the next 5 years.
Hall adds the city will see a utility tax increase of 3% over the next 5 years. The money will help pay for improvements.
4 police officers in Miami have been fired after an internal investigation by the city's police department. Miami City Manager Jeff Bishop says the officers were terminated for violating internal department policies and procedures. He says that after receiving the results of an internal investigation conducted by a third party, it was determined the officers in question had violated the policies and procedures in place, and as a result, they were let go. Bishop would not comment to KSN about whether or not the firings were a part of the complaint filed by Jerry Payne, Jr. of Miami.
As gas prices go up this summer, fuel pumps are likely to experience more gasoline theft or drive-offs. The Joplin Police Department is reporting 58 gasoline thefts throughout the city so far this year. Gas stations or convenience stores that do not offer gas prepay options are more likely to be targeted by drive-off customers. Stores without the prepay system usually see the crime more than stores that require customers to pay first. And police say drive-offs normally take place in rural neighborhoods and along interstates. Gas station employees say it's difficult to recoup after someone pumps fuel without paying.
It's very frustrating because we try to give good customer service and we want to be part of our neighborhood and the area that we're in. And so when you have someone, do that, you feel like you've been taken advantage of a little bit.
Gasoline theft less than $500 is a misdemeanor in Joplin, and if a person is convicted, then their driver's license can be suspended for up to 60 days for the first offense.
Carthage police officers will crack down on drinking and driving during the 4th of July holiday weekend. A grant through the Missouri Safety Center will allow more officers to work during the nationwide 4th of July weekend Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign. The campaign runs from July 2nd through the 6th. The police department says they arrest as many drunk drivers this holiday weekend as any other. However, during the New Year's holiday, companies usually offer free rides, but that's not the case for Independence Day weekend.
The 4th of July, I don't know of anyone that offers that, so we still got to work an extra force to keep people off the roadways driving intoxicated.
Last year, 243 DWI arrests were made throughout the state of Missouri during the 4th of July weekend holiday.
A recent Supreme Court ruling now requires all law enforcement officers to obtain a search warrant before accessing your cell phone. The Joplin Police Department already has this rule in effect, and they've been issuing these search warrants for more than a year now. There's a lot of information kept on cell phones that can be useful to law enforcement, but the Supreme Court wanted to make sure it's done the right way, and the Joplin Police Department agrees.
You know, in law enforcement, we take an oath to uphold the Constitution, and that Constitution is what protects the citizens from the government, being us. And so I think, you know, anytime that we're making sure that we're going through the proper channels and doing the right things before we start getting into people's lives is a good thing.
Under the ruling, if a police officer asks for your cell phone, you can say no. In order for them to get access to your phone, though, they must have a judge issue a search warrant.
Missouri's governor is shrinking the 2015 state budget by more than $1 billion, affecting a wide range of projects and services. Jay Nixon announced both line item vetoes and budget withholdings, starting with the new spending plan on July the 1st. At the Area Agency on Aging, the impact is limited to about $50,000, earmarked to expand the Meals on Wheels program. But Missouri Southern State University will lose $929,000, at least temporarily. Campus officials say that could lead to tuition hikes.
We would consider that probably would not happen until at the minimum mid-year, you know, probably for the spring semester, but that's still something that will have to be discussed with our Board of Governors and be voted on.
Crowder College is expected to lose $750,000 earmarked for construction in Webb City and Cassville. And the impact doesn't stop there, with cuts affecting everything from the school districts to the local Department of Revenue offices.
If you're looking for a job, the Missouri Career Center will hold a special event to help you out. Employers from Crossmark will be at the Career Center in Joplin tomorrow from noon until 3 p.m. The company is a sales and marketing services organization in the consumer goods industry. And this was the pilot week to have specific employer job fairs at the center. Workforce Investment Board leaders say events like these give job seekers the chance to meet employers one-on-one.
Plus, it's not so intimidating. It gets them out of that employer's perspective, that new employer spot, where they can come here and feel a little more on the neutral ground where they're a little bit more comfortable.
The Missouri Career Center is located at 730 South Wall Avenue in Joplin. Turning back to weather, Chief Meteorologist Gary Bandy here with another look at our forecast. Of course, a calm night for most of us, but we did see a few showers earlier.
Had some showers, even some fairly strong storms in parts of northeast Oklahoma earlier this afternoon. That is not the case right now. Things are pretty clear. They're going to stay that way for a few hours before our next chance of rain and thunderstorms returns. I've got some new information on that. Going to share it with you after the break. First, though, a look at our almanac on this 25th day of June. Our temperatures, thanks to all that cloud cover, a little bit cooler than normal.
Now in high definition, this is KSN Local News with Philip Mitchell, Jessica Shear, meteorologist Gary Bandy, and Eric Annette. We are KSN Local News.